All right, it looks like it's recording. Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is Sam Dennehy, aka Halfass Customs, and this is Halfass Presents, the podcast. Today's special guest, all the way from Germany, is Yen Yon. He is very famous for designing the wonderful and unbelievable uh, American-made cars on Shapeway, and on his Shapeway, he's known as Madaboutcars. He's probably the best person to get any passenger vehicle 3D printed from. Um, Yen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in the hobby?
Well, thanks, Sam, for having me. Basically, that's a long story. But when I was little, about 6 years old, I was, I actually am coming from the eastern part of Germany. So basically, the Russian occupied part. And when I was 6 years old, I realized that the United States had a military mission close to my hometown. And they have been driving in and out with first 1965 Ford 500 in as a military vehicle with military plates, everything. They were just looking so cool. And when you were 6 years old and you see all those East German cars and compare them with these American cars, I mean, they were just huge. I mean, in the 1970s, they changed that car to a Ford LTD, a 71 LTD, which was even bigger than that. So that was basically the initial uh, starting point in being interested in American cars. So yeah, basically, and then since then, I've been drawing cars. I've been building cars in 1 to 25, like Revel and Monogram and all these. And over the years, it has changed to the point that HO scale became more of an interest to me. Basically, I'm down to N scale now, but basically, every car that I design or that I make is starting out as HO scale, so 1 to 87. And then I just scale them down to any scale people would like to have. But basically, I mean, I was living in East Germany, in Russian occupied Germany, and it was impossible to really if you wanted to get any a picture of an American car, you had to go out and take a picture somewhere. We were not living far from Berlin, so I was going
Wow.
there, and of course the American embassy. Um, there was a U.S. military driving through Berlin all over the place. And so I took pictures there and then started drawing these cars and trying to find that's prior to internet. You had to rely on magazines, Motor Trend. I finally ended up in the early 1980s. I ended up in the American Embassy, and they had uh, a library there. And the people were so eager to help me that they were
Nice.
just giving me Motor Trend magazines, copying, Xeroxing uh, any page that I was interested in. I mean, I was leaving that embassy uh, with packs of paper, of Xerox paper with American cars in them. And that's
Right.
basically,
Yeah. That is so awesome.
yeah, this is, yeah, it was tough because the moment I left the U.S. embassy, I was arrested for,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
so yeah, but that was initially, I was 18 years old. And then when I was 21, I was finally allowed to leave East Germany. and then I went right away. And when I was 21, I left for the United States, and I lived the better part of the 80s in and around Washington D.C. And of course, then I had the possibility to get everything that I wanted. But I got interested in model railroading, and basically that's where I started. Also, there was not enough vehicles available, like station wagons. I mean, look into the 80s and early 90s. Basically, Atlas was making the only pickup truck. Then, of course, there were some companies like Monogram. They were starting to do some 90s vehicles, like the Pontiac and the Ford Thunderbird, I think. But it was not enough.
Right.
Yeah, and then basically when 3D printing came along, and I started this around 11 years ago, and basically bought my own printer, and that's how I met also Mike Beauty. He was one of my first customers, basically. So yeah,
That's awesome.
and I started out with that a printer for about $50,000. I took a loan, started the business, and yeah, basically that's was the initial starting point for creating your own vehicle. So yeah,
That's
uh,
great. That because I know here in America, you're the leader of all HO 187 scale American made passenger vehicles, pickups, and other vehicles like that.
I
You're the
have
leader in the design world. And
uh, maybe a 3D printing. I mean, I have now about today.
well, yeah,
I'm
for 3D
releasing a
printing,
prototype.
yes.
Yeah, because there is a couple of guys out there that are doing a great job, and like shrinking these
Y-
models from Green Light and from Johnny Lightning, shrinking them down and doing some basically the resin casting, and that's I think these are even better because 3D printing is still in an infant
Right,
infancy,
right.
because
They're getting
the
better and better, though.
yeah, it depends. I mean, uh, for example, that SLA uh,
Hmm.
print. There's printers out there for $160, $200 that do a great job.
Right,
And I mean, basically, they have a very good quality. Shapeways is not really, they don't have that quality of the surface quality that people are looking for. And
true.
yeah, but it is for me, it's an access point to reach a larger group of people. Because if I was putting myself, if I'm putting up four or five 3D printers and have to print them myself, then I don't have time anymore to create. And basically, that's the most important thing for me now is creating models that have not been available until now.
Right.
I mean, there have been when I do a model, I do every version of it. I mean, you've been following my new releases of that 2019 GMC Sierra,
Yes.
and there is the
Right.
top set, the regular cab, the extended cab, and all in three different lengths of the bed. Yeah. So
Right. Right.
yeah, it is. Uh, that's why I'm calling myself Madaboutcars, because it's part of
It's a good name, though. I mean, and you look at your inventory that you offer, And like you said, you make every single version of almost every car. Like if you've got one car, a certain year, a certain model type, you're making every version of that. And it's great because, like say the Impala, if I've had Impalas in my life, and if no another person didn't, they only had a Bel Air, then you offer that Bel Air, which maybe a main company like a Hot Wheels or Mattel or whatever, they wouldn't make the Bel Air. They would only make that one version. And you're giving the
Yeah,
people the option for everything. And it's
yeah,
awesome.
but the problem is for a big company to create casting for every model. I mean, it's expensive. Uh,
Right.
my what I do, I just create, and the only thing is what I need. I don't need inventory. I don't. I just create a three-dimensional virtual model that I just put into Shapeways as uh, for everyone to print. But I don't need to print it myself.
Right.
It's much easier, much cheaper. That's why I can concentrate on creating than doing the actual production. And that's what makes it easier for me to have the time to create. So yeah, and basically that's Mike has been very supportive in sending me pictures. We just a few days ago we had been communicating through Facebook through the messenger, and he had been sending me pictures because he is interested in that 1965 Chevy Impala. And basically,
Yes.
the model that I finished, it's not really. It doesn't have the right details. And he has been
Right.
we have
Right.
been going back and forth to so he would send me what is wrong on the model, and I'm just finished it
Hmm.
just as we speak. I finished the drawing of that front end that was not right, and
Yeah.
basically I can just finish it now, and Mike is going to get his model that he always wanted.
Right. Well, I can tell you, I've always wanted a 65 Impala too. I know you offered a 66 Impala that you
Yeah,
designed that a while ago. And my very first car I ever had, I was 14 or 15. I got a 1965 Impala. And so I always wanted to get one in this scale to replicate what I had when I was a young kid. So now that you offer that, I'm going to be ordering one.
yeah, but just wait another day
But
because
yeah,
I'm not going to the one that is available right now. I have not taken it off because in the N scale version you don't really see the difference because it's just too small. There's a certain
right, right,
things
right.
that you can just recreate in that detail for that size. But HO scale is a size, a scale that offers a lot more possibility in detail. So even
Correct.
the Shapeway
Yeah.
spring, the problem is that the layers still show in uh, in in, in the cheaper material. But well, eventually it will
Yeah.
get there.
I think it's their printers. It's definitely their printers.
Yeah, that's the system that they use. They're still using the deposit
Right.
technique instead of using the SLA printers that are available now. But the problem is that you cannot really um, mass produce because there's too much error involved in some of these printers. I mean, I have been talking to some people, and they have a few printers sitting, and there's a lot of trial and error involved in creating and printing. So basically, that's not really an issue for me to have a printer myself because that would just take too much time and too much time for me. Like I said,
Yeah.
I
Well,
rather
I
create.
know that the future seems to be resin 3D printing. And if they could get a whole bunch of resin 3D printers, their prints could come out much nicer. Because I've seen prints on a resin 3D printer and the same car on a SLA printer, and the world of difference.
It is a world of difference. I have a few. I mean, the SLA printer, it creates a surface so smooth that you actually, yeah, you don't need to work on it anymore. It's almost a resin casting. You don't like, for example, the Cadillac that you've been doing, the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still see. Yeah, exactly, exactly. You can.
Right.
The quality is what you did with it is just. I'm always amazed with how
Thank
much.
you.
I mean, you put so much time in it.
Yeah. Well, hey, I couldn't have done it unless you made it. You created the design and you offered it up, and I was so happy, like so happy, because
Yeah.
nobody makes a '59 Cadillac station wagon in any company in this scale. So you designed it.
I think wasn't there like a white metal kit? I'm not really sure who offered it. They had, I think, I think it was a '54 station wagon. It was a hearse.
Yes. Yeah.
They offered. It was something else.
Yeah. It's a
It
hearse
was
ambulance.
It was not exactly, yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the wrong body. It's the wrong roof. It's the wrong everything.
yeah, of course. Yeah, this, that's the easy part actually. It's the drawing. Basically, I used to uh, buy my models at first. Sometimes I still do. I'm also doing custom work for people if they like. Um, they like a pickup truck, like a 94 Silverado, and they want some
Right.
running boards on the side or some marker lights on the top, a sunshade, things like that, and I can do that. I have a large library of parts that I just need to insert into the model because you don't always
Yeah.
have to draw a new model. You just use parts that already exist and just insert them into the model. And basically, I mean, uh, that Cadillac, it was, uh, I found this model. It was not my design, basically. But I bought it in the internet and I had to work on it because it was really crude. It was the resolution was not right of that model. So I had to basically redraw the entire model because you have to add a lot of detail, and there was no detail on that model. And
Wow.
basically, I mean, you added a lot more detail that I. I mean, I love these the possibility today. I mean, the other day you shared a video of a remote RC, HO scale RC.
That's the
model.
next step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, think about that. Basically, if you have a model railroad, you have to have continuous roads in the future because you can really, for example, a truck, you deliver to the wherever you want, and you have to add these.
Yeah, to a warehouse or something.
Yeah, this is it's mind-boggling. It's just
Well, me and Ken Patterson were talking 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, and we were talking about taking the Ghostbusters car, your car, and doing that RC motorized stuff inside of it, plus having all the lights flash.
okay.
He said that would be the best thing ever, to have the lights flash, to have the car moving, and then to have like the siren going on in the background to look like they're going out for a ghost busting thing. That would be the next step.
You just tell me, and I can prepare that model instead of. I think you still use the hollow version.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, you have to.
But
Yeah.
in the meantime, I already released the kit version, which is basically it's more than 2 parts. It's like 3 parts. Because
Right.
I think the rag was also separate on the model that you bought. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But if you need something like that, you just have to contact me, and I can prepare it for you. And there is a possibility that you don't need to cut out the entire model. I can just offer
Right.
you already that model in, so you can.
Yeah. Well, if
insert
all
the
that
frame.
RC stuff has to fit inside, then the model will have to be hollow for sure.
Now, the
Because that's a
model,
lot of stuff to put
yeah,
all RC inside of.
yeah, it is. I think that German, it was a German person who created that RC model of the 1964 Impala, the 4-door Impala. That video that you shared on the 1287 Facebook page. You remember that? There was that RC version.
So not the like
Impala.
their word is cutting out.
Now, what I'm talking about is that model came from my shop too. That's basically
Oh, okay.
1964. That model that the person used came from my shop. That's why also I shared
Oh.
that video on my page. So it was one also the first model that Mike received in 2015 when we did that when I was in St. Louis to
Yeah.
do the video and the interview in Ken Patterson.
Well, I'll tell you, I've got a 63 Impala, not painted, straight from Shapeway,
Yeah.
and the detail on your design and what they can do on their end is so awesome. I mean, it's a 2-piece, so you got the body and then the interior and chassis, and you just stick it on top. All you got to do is make the windows and paint it, and the car's done. It is so the level of detail you put into the design to get this car to be printable is the best thing. I love this. This was my second car I got, was a 63 Impala wagon.
Yeah.
And I made, before you had the two version, the body and interior, and I had this one, which is the solid version, which this is how I painted the car when I had it, with the flames all over it. And so I always wanted to make a small version of it. And now I have this version. I'm gonna do the same paint scheme and just have interior now too. And I love your work. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thanks. It is, basically that was my passion from the beginning. Just drawing pictures of cars, and then starting to do. In the beginning, I was using. I glued plastic together, like, and then just sanded the model down to the point that it was looking like the model that I wanted to do. But it was not. It took too long.
Yeah.
And, with 3D printing coming along, it was getting much faster, more diversity. That we can create anything. You just have to have the file. That's the most important part.
Right.
Creating the file. I mean, that's without the file, you would need a 3D printer.
Right.
So and then I'm just concentrating. I'm basically I put all my time now on creation. I don't actually model cars anymore because I'm sitting on my computer for 12 hours a day and
Wow.
work my little butt out. Yeah, that's
Well, it's worth it, man. I tell you, because I know just for myself, I'm a passenger vehicle car guy. I love classic cars from the beginning to like mid 60s. After the mid 60s, I still like them, but I'm not in love with them. But anything from mid 60s and down, I love it. And you offer so much stuff that so many companies aren't going to come out with, like the Chevy side. Like I know Chevy market, there's very little Chevys in any, like, new or old, in the market today. And then the companies that used to make them went out of business, don't make them anymore. So now they're getting harder to find. But you offer it, and it's always going to be there on Shapeway or somewhere else to be printable. And it's like the best thing ever. It really is.
basically we- um, basically I'm a one man company, but uh, I'm thinking of offering the files in a way that I don't have really. I'm setting up a server where people could get access to with their printer. Just have to work out the details because that
Yeah.
it would be much easier, and because more and more people have a printer at home.
Right, right. I
The
have a
problem,
printer at home. I don't know
yeah,
how to use it yet.
I can tell you, I was uh, I don't have the patience to
Oh, me
do
neither. Me neither. I've had a
so.
friend come over to try to show me, and he's doing all this stuff on the computer, and I'm like, dude, it's like Chinese. I can't read it. I don't understand it. You do it, and then we still couldn't get it to work. I don't know.
Yeah, this is yeah. You have to spend a lot of time doing it
Yeah,
because and you
too
need
much time.
practice because in the beginning it's just like creating the model itself. I mean, 11 years ago, I didn't have any experience with a CAD system, any drawing a model in the internet, and over 11 years, I taught myself, and in the 2 years ago, I went to 3 months for uh, 3 months of school to get a degree of for a system called Autodesk Inventor, and that's there is so many shortcuts that you can use to create models. I mean, it, 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 it cut down. I used to draw a model in a week, which is now about between 3 days and 3.5 days. I can finish a model,
Wow.
but uh, my models, of course, I've created to be printed in smaller scales. So I
Mhm.
don't really need to care about the initial uh, the resolution in that model. For
Right.
example, if you
Well, you don't need a door handle in this. You don't need it because you can't see it anyways. So yeah, I
uh,
understand what you're saying.
well, that is the part which when people receive a model like that, and like Mike is he is a person that wants not only detail, but he wants it perfect. He needs it
Right,
perfect
right.
because he recreates. He's as crazy in that way as I'm crazy in creating my model, and I'm always
Right.
happy to accommodate uh, suggestions or criticisms, and to make my models even better. And even I'm working a model over if there's something missing or the model itself, because I don't have the resources to print every model that I create, because I have about as of today I have 2,264 models, different
Wow.
different designs, which
That's
means,
insane.
of course, that we talked about that 2019 GMC. And basically that is that is part of those 2,000 models, 2,264 models, because I have up to 9 different versions of that
Right.
same model. That makes the number in the end.
Yeah. But you know what, there's going to be somebody out there that wants that specific version, and you created it, so now they can have it. You know?
Yeah, but you see, the internet is so vast. If you think about, I have on uh, my homepage, I can follow how many people have access to my homepage, and that's about 150 people from all over the world that access my page frequently. Basically, I have on my Facebook page, I have about 294 followers. And you think that it's like there are 7 billion people on this planet.
Right.
And it is still a small number compared to how many people would have access. It is
Yeah.
always a problem to stay up to date and to stay in uh, people to know you that you exist.
Right.
That's really it's sometimes uh, it, uh, I release something and people are jumping to it, but after a while
Right. Right.
calms down, and then I see that people are not there anymore because
Right.
even though I create so many and I have already so many models available, it is always a struggle to find these people to tell them I exist. I'm right here.
Right. Well, I
So,
tell you what, I know whenever I buy something from you, like I got, well, not from you, but from Shapeway,
oh,
I made the Blues Brothers car, and as
yeah,
soon as I make this car, everybody's like, "Where did you get it? I want one. Can you make me one?" And I always give them the link to the Shapeway that's from
yeah,
you, and I say, "Yeah, you can get it, or I can get it, and I can make it for you." Same thing with the Ghostbusters. I make the Ghostbusters. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, I have to have it. Where did you get it?" And I always
yeah,
say that I give them the Shapeway link, and it's your page, and
yeah,
you get it. But I made the Knight Rider car
exactly.
that you
Yeah,
designed,
yeah,
and I got 4 people say, "Oh, I have to have it. Where did you get it?" Every time they ask, I give them to your link to your Shapeway page
yeah.
every time.
We have a problem because basically the price of those models. I
Right.
mean, if you think about 40, $50 for a
Yeah.
model that you still have to work on, I mean,
Yes.
it's just a bone. It is just a piece of coal. And
Right.
basically, what I always wanted to tell you, I mean, you're turning that piece of coal that you get there, your work, you turn it into a diamond.
Yeah. Well, so look, this is the one that you offer. Besides the
Yeah,
antenna and the ladder, you offer it with this big huge dome
yeah,
on the roof rack.
yeah,
And I go and make this, and I think it's $45 plus. I think it's $45 shipped to my house from wherever Shapeway is, and that's US dollars. And then I paint it, I put the decals on it, I go put the lights on it. I turn around and sell this for 250 US dollars. So just off of what I buy this from Shapeway, and then I add the Bosch spotlights and bar lights to make it flash. Just with that, and then the decals and the paint, I'm making some money off of it. But still, if I got the car for free, say I have my own printer, I printed it myself, it could cut down, $45. That would be great.
of course. I mean, there's the possibility if we'll finally uh, find a way to, I don't want to give my files to people
Right,
because
right, right. That's
this
your
is the
that's your work.
yeah, there is a problem that you still because anybody can do anything with these. And I basically there's a few models that I cannot even sell because I can sell the 3D printed model, but I cannot sell
The
the
file.
file because it belongs to somebody else. I just bought the right to use it.
Yeah.
That's all. And that's basically what we are trying, what I'm going to try to do is that people have access to a external server that's sitting in my place, and they can have a connection with their printer to my server, and
Yeah.
that file never leaves my computer
Right.
or my
Correct.
server.
Yeah.
So, but until this point, we still have to find a way because that costs. I think you will have to invest about $50,000 for all the because you have to write a program.
Yeah. Correct.
These things don't exist yet because you don't just you can buy some of these files you can buy in the internet, but the the possibility to redesign some and then turn these models into four doors, two doors, in convertibles. It's just because these models are not available that
Right.
way, even in 3D. I mean, I have been uh, I'm a 70s guy. I love the 70s. I mean, yeah, I I'm still since on YouTube I've been watching all these streets of San Francisco
Yeah.
with Carl Malden and I just I take in I suck in all these cars that they're using. I mean, basically they're using the Ford LTD or
Right. Yeah.
at that time they were probably sponsored by Ford. And
Probably.
yeah, because you almost don't see any Chevys in that show, but everything is Ford. But I'm always getting basically what I can do uh, when I somebody sends me a picture from the 70s and I can actually match every model on that picture because I have created that model.
Right.
So I had a customer. He sent me a picture of a parking lot, and I think there was two models that I didn't have yet, but I could uh, uh, he could recreate a 70s parking lot with all the different vehicles, with all the different styles, and not all Chevrolet like Camaros or Corvettes. Uh, these cars you don't see so often, but station
Right. Right.
wagons and four doors, family cars. That was very important for me when I started that. To make that to give the people a chance to recreate a reality on their in small spaces.
Yeah. There's a guy named Joe Fay, and he was shrinking a lot of his cars, doing one-off cars that you don't see anywhere. Um, and he made uh, 70s, late 70s, maybe, a Chrysler dealership, made all the Mopar cars, all on this dealership, all from the 70s, like they're brand new. And then they had a street front, and then right before the street was a sunken freeway. So you have these bridges and this freeway, like 3 lanes here, 3 lanes here, all of 70s cars, all makes and models. And nobody's ever seen that many 70s cars ever. And he was selling them. They weren't great cars, but they were awesome for what they were because you'd never seen them before.
Yeah,
And it seems like you jumped on, like where he left off, you jumped on his tail and said, I'm going to create the rest of them, which is so neat. It's really awesome.
yeah. I hope that people are responding to it like you. I mean, it is still. I cannot. I'm offering a starting point
Yeah.
for a modeler. I don't create a finished product. I through 3D printing, I give the possibility for people to do what they
Yeah. Well, I mean, you take this from straight off the printer, you clean it up, get all that extra film off of it,
Yeah.
and the possibility is endless. You go stock, you go custom, you go lowrider. Like I could easily make this into a lowrider. You go hot rod. You could take this, take the wheels off, and put the monster truck kit from Bosch from it. You know, you do anything you want with this because it's a perfect starting point, like you said.
Thanks. Yeah, that's basically that's my idea of giving the possibility to offer the possibility to do whatever
Yeah.
you. And I've been growing uh, with that technology. I have been in the beginning these hollow models, then starting to create the two parts, and basically I have models that I did a model for somebody in Denmark a few years, 2 years back, and that was a Kalmar container lift from the U.S. Army that the U.S. Army uses, and that model has about 70 pieces, and
Wow.
it is being printed like a rivel, like on these um, like a model from Rival,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
has the frame and all the parts are connected to that frame. Basically, that's how the model looks like. I mean,
Wow.
it is just, I've seen it uh, last year in October. I saw it in action because we had close to Frankfurt in Germany. We had the the U.S. Model Train Convention there, and we have like 5,000 people attending that place. I mean,
Wow.
that is it's a weekend, and but it gives, for example, us a chance to see what's new, what's available. I mean, I've been always there's more companies now that offer models in also
Yeah.
in Shapeway. You know, there's more and more to see the possibility to earn a living through selling models online. It's
Yeah. I like I said, I've sold some of these, but I can't live off of what I sell. But
yeah,
it would be nice to maybe one day get to that point to where you're so popular and you have such a demand that people are like, give me, give me, give me. And that's all you do is building stuff for them. It'd be
yeah.
nice.
So that was, I mean, when I started 11 years ago, I invested so much money in that, and I don't get rich, but I'm, for a long term, because we still have a future. There's
Right.
still
Yes.
there's still 5,000 models to create.
Right.
So
Yeah. And
there's
you
not
know it, if you go with the new cars too, there's even more because new cars being built every
new
year.
cars coming out. I mean, I'm trying to keep up even with the new cars, which is really difficult because, yeah, uh, I'm still concentrating onto the 60s and 70s
Right.
because there's
Well, there's a
still,
lot more differences in those cars than there are new cars. Like a new car, you could get something from 2015 to 2019. It's the same as that car. They didn't do nothing, but maybe change the rims or something.
yeah,
So
sometimes
classic
they,
car, it's more worth doing, I think.
yeah, because there is not enough models around. Even now,
Right.
I mean, I still haven't seen. I mean, I don't want to blow my own horn, but I haven't seen anybody having that much models available right
No,
now.
that's what I said in the beginning. You're the leader of classic cars. You have the best and most variety for any modeler in our scale to buy from.
Yeah, I'm still continue. I mean, I'm working on that 65 to finally do it uh, my booty foolproof because so yeah, I've been I've been working for about 2 weeks now on that model just to do all the changes on the model to really represent the 65.
Well, I know a couple weeks ago you went through the Impala lineup of what you offered, given like every day the next year that you offer. Then what you show on your page on your Facebook, you show all the different models in one
Oh,
picture.
yeah,
Say this is now available, and it's so nice because it gives the person that doesn't really know you like the option to see everything that you created for that one model. Just for one model, you created 4, 5, 6 different versions of it. And it's so great. I'm telling you, I don't know that you really understand. It is so great that you offer
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah. This is I mean, uh, I'll do it basically for myself because
Well, I appreciate it.
yeah, uh, it there was always a time that yeah, you know what, when I grew up and I've seen these cars, and then finally I think it was 1980. Let me see, in 1986, I was staying for a few weeks in Los Angeles, and I found this. I have a picture of it on my Facebook, my personal Facebook, and it's a 1965 Cadillac DeVille, two door, and uh, I bought this car for about $150 from an 80-year-old lady that bought the car new. I mean, I spent $150 in 1986, and I've been I drove that car for the entire time that I was in Los Angeles because it was just on basically I have to tell you I didn't even have a driver's license at the time. I, that was
Good for
that
you, though.
well, I'm not talking about it anymore. But it was fun. I mean, such a large car, and it was always a dream to own a car like that. And in Germany right now, it is you could own a car like this, but you could never drive it because our the price of gasoline compared to the United States, we pay about $6 a gallon. Yes,
Wow.
that's why we are driving so small cars
Yeah.
like VWs and things because it's an American car uses if you drive in a Cadillac like this, that was like 12 gallons uh, for.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing was just empty after about 150 miles.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that it's not just not possible. My the only car that I owned, which was American in Germany, was a Pontiac that I owned. It was a Transport, one of these family, these early small buses, like I think you can compare to the Chrysler Voyager.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was the Pontiac version of the '90s, and was
Oh,
an
okay.
'86 Pontiac Transport. That was the only car that I really drove in Germany, which was
Well, that's
American.
good.
Yeah.
That's cool. At least you got a little bit of American back there.
Yeah, oh, we did.
Back then.
But when you drive down the highway, and today, uh, nobody passes that I see these Dodge, the late model pickup trucks driving in Germany. You don't see so many Ford or Chevrolet, but Dodge is big in Germany. You
Yeah.
can, I mean, I see three, four of them driving down the highway every day. Not the same one, but
We went to Germany. We 3 years ago, um, just on vacation, and we rented at Heathrow. We rent Heathrow. Is that the one in Paris? The Paris
now
airport.
Heathrow is London.
Oh, okay.
Paris
So,
is Charles de Gaulle.
oh, okay. We landed there and we rented a Ford station wagon.
Yeah,
Ford, I guess Escort or something, station wagon. It's supposed to fit
yeah,
5 people,
yeah.
and it barely fit 5 people. We were so tight. um, but yeah, we kept that for 2 weeks, and it was the speedometers and kilometers,
Oh yeah.
and but I had my phone and it could switch. I could see how fast I was going on my phone to the kilometers, and I was like, okay, this is where I'm comfortable. But yeah, there's so it. I found it disgusting how much American influence was out there in Europe. Like even the TV shows. You watch a TV show, and you have the German or the French voice over the television, but underneath it, very low, is the English version still going on. You're like, that's so stupid. Like, we're like America's just shoving America down your throat, and it's like you don't have to do this. Why do this?
What, why do you do that? Because
Right.
I mean, you shouldn't talk to me like that because I am all for American things.
Well, I think that's probably why they do it. I don't know. Maybe a lot of Europeans or Germans or Russians, whatever, anybody from that side, maybe they want to have that American influence. But
I
I
mean,
think like
yeah,
like Americans, if you have something in Spanish, we think just put it in English. I don't want to learn this Spanish. Just put it in English. If anything's from like another country and you're like you can't understand it, you're like, why didn't they fix this before they put it on our television? We're very spoiled and arrogant.
yeah. Well, this is basically if you were going to the Netherlands, they show you the original version with subtitles
Oh,
on TV. I mean, in the beginning, when I we returned to after living such a long time in the United States and we returned to Europe, it was really difficult because we were so stuck. Uh, Basically, until today, my family is speaking English at home. We don't speak. We the kids learn German. Uh, Basically, my wife is French, but they speak all three languages. But
wow.
when we started uh, living in Germany again, we tried to keep as much English in our family as we did in America because uh, that included movies, uh, with TV shows, things like that. I mean, when we returned in the early 90s, uh, we were lucky we had Sky. That was a satellite program that showed everything that was transmitted from England. So you had
Oh,
all
okay.
the you had Cartoon Network. The kids could always uh, see their shows. I mean, that was big for them. I mean, they were so happy
Yeah.
to continue having everything in
Wow.
English.
Yeah, it always that made me want like when we went out there. I never went to Germany before. It made me angry, but I was kind of happy because I could understand what was happening, but
Yeah,
angry because I thought I don't think these people out here want to hear us talk. I don't think so. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I mean,
But listening to you, you liked it.
no, no, there's a large crowd of people. Basically, when you come to Germany or to Europe, an exception for France, most of the people, or many of the people, speak English. So I mean, that's being taught in school, and they can more than keep a conversation. I mean, they really know how to speak English. It's a lot more people than you find in America. People speaking German because you and I understand that, and I like that in America basically. That you're so headstrong to keep everything. And but
Right.
I'm willing. I'm somebody who likes that. I mean, I love the United States. I love the English language. Basically, this is like a drug for me. I don't need to smoke. I don't need alcohol. I just need to have a conversation in English. That's enough for me, and I will
Yeah.
never stop.
Right.
It's very difficult for people sometimes to follow me because
Yeah. Well, that's funny you say that because when we went to Germany, right on the border of Germany and France, there's a little tiny town called Colmar. And we
oh
stopped at Colmar for the night. Well, for 2 nights. And the downtown city, so beautiful. Looked like a Disney movie, like Snow White, or not Snow White, but you know, whatever. It looked like a Disney movie. It's so beautiful. And me and my wife said, if something happened to this country, we're gonna move over there because we love everything about over there. But I had to bring my car, my classic car, from here over there though.
Okay.
So bring America over there and we'll live over there.
Well, you know, when I returned, like in the 90s, I was always, uh, we have family in France, and right on the border to Germany. They're not really far away, and they're living really close to some of the largest American bases in military base in like Ramstein. I don't know if you know that.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it is one. Ramstein has the largest uh, hospital outside of the United States, American hospital, where all soldiers that are injured are being brought from Afghanistan or Iraq, or they are being brought to Ramstein first to
Wow.
to have their surgery done, and then return back after that to the United States. But I remember because I was looking for the American influence. I'm creating myself the victim of Americanism. But I went there to uh, uh, I in the beginning in the 90s we only had VHS videotapes. They didn't have the ability to have uh, either language. Today then came the DVD, but I went there to places that were catering to U.S. soldiers that were living in the area, and there were video stores that were offering all these videos in English. So I went there to buy them when they were selling them,
Yeah.
and I spent a lot of money on that. But and then when you were close to the base, everything was looking American because there were these people, the U.S. soldiers were living not on the base but outside,
Right.
and that was basically little America. They had their own stores, uh, like the PX, where you could buy all these Hellman's mayonnaise, for example. I mean, by now we have all these things. You know, today I went to the store and I bought Reese's peanut butter cups.
That's not a normal thing out there?
Now that's not a normal thing.
Oh.
I mean, it's just a year ago that all these companies really expanded also their product. And that basically, in the beginning, I returned to the United States at least once a year. I was trying to do that, and I was always packing up my suitcase with Reese's Pieces, Reese's peanut butter cups,
Yeah.
marshmallows that in the 90s didn't exist in Germany. So I came back and my kids got, yeah,
Wow.
they added some calories after I returned. But then they lost it again because when it was finished, there was nothing left. And we had
Yeah.
to live the German diet again. But it was fun to have that connection to the United
Well, I
States.
think it's always great if anybody can go outside of their comfort zone of where they were born and raised to visit other places, you know? Like I never been to Germany, and I've been to France one time before, but I never been to Germany. I go to Germany and life is so different, and it's so refreshing to see other culture, other lifestyle, other way of living. Because out here in the States, unless you're in like a rural area, a small town USA, everything else is big city. So you go out there to Europe, to France, to Germany, to wherever we go, Austria and Switzerland. You got these little tiny towns, so small, look like only 150 people live there. You got a church in the middle, one store, and everybody knows each other, and they all look out, and you're like, how do people live this way? And it's so beautiful. I love it. I'll move to a town like that.
But you see, this is the experience I did when I'm in the last year since 2015. I have been at least twice to the United States every year, and after going to a convention or to a show, I was taking a trip through the United States, and I found places like that. I mean, think about. I went to Beaufort, Wyoming, which is a town, is a
Yeah,
township.
it is.
It is just one person. It's a town of one.
Yeah. It's on the map, but you drive right past it and not even know you went through it.
A gas station. There's a gas
Right.
station. Yeah, it is not very far from. I love Wyoming, and I
Oh,
have
it's
been
beautiful.
going there. Since they have the overland route, they have the roundhouse, they have the big boy
Yeah.
sitting in the roundhouse. I have friends that are at the Heritage Foundation, so I was able to visit all these places even after hours. And each time I go there, I can visit Union Pacific Depot and all these things. That is
Right.
really important to me. And
Oh, yeah.
it
So
is,
you see, right now I'm on the East Coast of the United States.
yeah,
I live in North Carolina, and I was born and raised in Southern California.
okay,
So all my life until about 13 years ago, I live out there in Southern California where classic cars everywhere. People drive them
of course.
daily vehicles. Every day they drive them out there. And
Well, yeah,
I grew up, we had a fairgrounds, the LA County Fairgrounds. They had a little train museum and they had a big boy, the 4014, which they just
that's
restored.
the one. That's the one just restored.
Yeah.
I was there uh, when they returned it
Oh,
to,
okay.
to Cheyenne to
Nice.
restore. Yeah,
Yeah. So I remember being able to climb on that thing as a kid my whole life because it was open. They had a staircase. You go into the where they have all the knobs, the controls, and everything. And you look out the window and you see the long, tender. Yeah, I remember that. And now I don't think they're ever going to park it back there. I think they're just going to keep using that as excursion runs the rest of
oh
its
yeah.
life.
I mean, they spend so much money on it that it's not going to be possible for
Right,
them.
right. Yeah, just to
You
have
have
it
to,
sit back there and rust to death.
yeah. But yeah, basically, when we come back to how the hobby started, that was also part. It was a model railroad, but then I just turned to everything that's on the side, buildings. I always, one of these days, I'm going to release a couple of fronts that you can find in the United States. I mean, the 1870s, 1880s, basically every little
Yeah,
town in the United States has something that was made in St. Louis, like all these
right.
cast iron fronts were done and just shipped by the railway to
Yeah, yeah,
these places in the West. And
right.
that is, well, I'm going to, when I have the time, I'm working on the Cheyenne Pro right now, but it's been sitting there for a year now, and it takes some time. But I continue with the cars because I cannot do everything one day.
Right. It happens. I mean, projects, they start and then you find out it takes more time to do it. And you're like, I can do so many other things in the amount of time it's taking me to do this thing. Let me take a
I
break
always,
for a minute.
you know, when I finish a project, like when I usually uh, I I'm when I draw a model, I start with the 4 door. That takes me to 3.5 days now, and then uh, within a day I can create the 2 door and the, usually the convertible.
Mhm.
Then the last version is the station wagon, and sometimes the wood trim that you had. And these things, when I stop that, I'm falling into some kind of a hole because
Right.
when you're finished with something, you were working on it for a week.
Yeah.
You were only concentrating seeing these pictures. I have three screens on my computer, and on one screen is the real car as a picture from different angles. Then the other screen, of course, is I have to keep track of sales and entering emails, and the other screen is where I draw. So basically,
Wow.
I'm running back and forth, and my eyes turn square after 1 week.
Right.
Yeah, and then, but it is it then to find a new subject to start. Then
Yeah.
I need a few days to find pictures that because all the models that I make now, I draw from pictures, and I'm for example, I have to have an upfront picture from the side. It should
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
be angled in any way because it distorts the model itself.
Right.
And then basically the front, the back, and favorably if I have a picture from the top, because no car is really square. There's
No.
always an angle in it that
Right.
when the model goes, except for a Cadillac from the 60s. They were
Well, they have curves. I would say an 80s Caprice, Chevy
oh yeah,
Caprice. Those are
oh
square.
oh yeah. But basically, I have that model.
Yeah, I know. That those are horrible design cars. They're just like a box, like a cereal box
Yeah,
rolling down the road.
yeah. That's I mean, sometimes it is certain. Uh, you can look, for example, today. You look at a Ford Excursion, a,
Hmm.
a modern Ford Excursion, and it has resembles the Chevrolet Suburban
It
in
does.
almost any way except for the Ford sign. I
Right.
mean, everything else, the design itself, that box design that
Yeah.
they have today, it could be sometimes when you see it from the back and far away, it could be either car. It could be
Right.
Ford or Chevrolet. I mean, that's what make it very
Yeah.
easy for me
Right.
is I can use
Well,
that.
check this out. I was
Yeah.
one year I was in California and I was driving to San Diego, real close to Mexico, and I see on the other side of the freeway, or the motorway, whatever you want to call it,
The
and
autobahn.
I see this red Suburban driving up on the other side, and I was like, that doesn't look like anything I seen. So I'm looking and I'm looking as I'm driving, and it's getting closer. It was a Dodge Ram Suburban. They didn't make that here in the States. I'd never seen one, no in magazine, no in video, no TV, no nothing ever. And it looked like to me, they took the Dodge Ram pickup, 4-door, and put a Suburban, Chevy Suburban roof on it. But then I looked it up when I got home, and Chev or Ram or Chrysler did make the Suburban only for South American countries.
Uh-huh.
They didn't make it for North American.
Okay.
So they have a Dodge Ram Suburban out there in South America.
Yeah, this is
Real interesting.
yeah. I used to there's a magazine in Germany. It's the kind of motor trend of Germany,
Yeah.
and every year release the world's cars as a catalog. So you could just there's all the measurements. I mean, these books are great. They have them from the 1964 all the way to today. And I'm using these
Wow.
basically where I get my measurements. There's because in the end you have to start from somewhere, and you basically in the beginning when I started out, I drew a line in my computer with the one-to-one version, and then I took the picture and I scaled that picture from bumper to bumper to that line, the beginning of the line and the end of the line, and that way I had a fairly good uh, measurement for that car, and I could draw that car one to one, because in the computer you can when it's let's say it's about 6 feet long. I mean 6 feet. 6 meters. It would be about, I don't know, about how long would be a Cadillac?
Like 19 to 23 feet.
Yeah. Okay. There you are. That's about 33 centimeters
Yeah.
a foot. Yeah. Basically, that's how I measure and create my cars. I first draw a line. I blow up that picture to that point one to point B, and then I start just tracing the outline of the model. After that, I add the front and the back, and I also scale that front and back to that I fitted to the lines that I drew before, and from there I basically mold, like like a sculpture, to start hammering that overall design of that model.
That's crazy.
That computer.
That's so much work, man. See, this is what I want. This is what I want. I want a system. I want you to get a system to make your life so much easier, where you have a normal sized car, you put in the length of it, and then you say 187 scale, and then boom, done.
Yeah,
simple. Just make it simple.
There's a possibility. Today's you could scan. There's those professional scanners that you can scan in any kind of vehicle.
Yeah, they're not cheap though.
They're not cheap. No, they're about $20,000. Yeah, this is nothing to joke about. But the possibility would be you scan in the model, but then to work on the model to make it printable, it is almost impossible. It's like drawing that model from scratch, because the model, when it's being scanned, and you want to make it printable, there's so many errors in that.
Yeah.
That to clean it up, you need a computer. You need HAL from 2001 to create something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. A friend of mine that was helping me with the 3D printer, he printed a Munsters coach from the TV shows The Munsters, and he downscaled it on his own computer from a bigger scale. And when he downscaled it, he didn't modify it in any way. And when he printed it, everything like the doors and the fenders were so skinny, it was paper thin, because it wasn't meant to be that small. So I know what you're saying. You do have to work it, but it would be nice to get something easier to help you with it.
Yeah, no, I basically the way I do it now. I mean, it's still that I can put out 6 models a week, at least. I mean, let's say 7, because that's a week.
Yeah.
Because I'm releasing every day. I release a new model.
I see your updates. I know.
Basically, I could release another 68 models, because I'm already in January for the future releases that I do.
Wow.
And, basically, I had a friend in England who asked me to do that Pontiac Aztec from the TV show. Yeah, that's an ugly car. I don't know how Pontiac.
He has one, so he wants one for his layout to look like his own.
So basically, he wanted to recreate a scene from Breaking Bad, and I think that is the car that what's his name, the main actor in Breaking Bad.
I haven't seen it, but probably, yeah.
Yeah,
It makes sense. That'd be the only reason you would want, unless you had one that you drove. That's the only other reason, is because you're trying to create a scene with it.
yeah, of course. I mean, I just finished it, but I have not released it to the general public. But
Well, don't.
will come, will come. But,
Just keep it for him. No, somebody's going to want it. There's not going to be a lot of people, but somebody will look at that and go, "Oh,
yeah,
finally! I've been looking for this forever."
I'm creating models that uh, even when I upload them have not been sold at all at Shapeway. There's a lot of models. Those 2,000 models. Basically, I sell about 150 models over and over,
Hmm.
and all the other models are never being sold. That's why I'm saying I'm doing it for myself.
Right.
So, uh, and
Well,
maybe in the future, there's
and it
somebody who
keeps you
wants
busy
them.
too. You could be wasting your time with all other bad things, but you decide to, design vehicles for yourself and other people to enjoy. So you're doing the right thing. I'm telling you.
Right?
It may
See,
seem like a waste of time, but it's not. Trust me,
now it is.
because I wouldn't have been able to get this if you didn't have it. You didn't make it.
Now, well, this is I'm relying on the modeler. Also, I have a few people that always tell me, okay, you have to start with this car, you should do this car, and that's it's very diverse in the
Right.
people like the 70s, a lot of people. So I'm also jumping from one year, from the 60s into the 70s, then I jumped into 2000s,
Yeah.
1990s. Basically, I don't really have a plan. I just do what uh, tickles my funny actually.
Right.
The moment when I see something and sometimes I don't feel it. I have to feel the model when I do
That's
it.
exactly how I am.
Yeah,
I I I built this. Well, I didn't even build it. It was already printed, just needed painting. So I built the Night Rider car, and then I'm looking on your page, and like right below it or somewhat close to it, I see this car, and I'm
uh,
like, okay, I want to build it. I want to build it. I don't need to, but I want to. I was feeling it at that moment, and I was like, okay, I need to build that car. And that's kind of how I am. I don't have any set plan on what's next. It's whatever I feel that's going to be next. And if I have to wait for it to be printed and then wait to get parts, well, then I'll wait and not build something else until I have everything that I need to get that one done.
yeah, that's what I collate pictures of cars that I want to do in the future, and sometimes I'm harvesting. I'm going
Yeah.
into these car sales, the classic car sales pages, and like I think there's a not model trader, the Auto Trader magazine
Hmm.
that used to. You could always get this kind of in any 7-Eleven. You could get the Auto Trader,
Yeah.
like a really thick booklet.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
I used to get it.
Now you have the internet version of it,
Yes.
and then there's these uh, car dealers, the classic car dealers that have great pictures. Because the pictures that I need, they have to be more resolution pictures.
Right.
Because if you have something too small and just blow it up, then it becomes too many
It's
pixels.
distorted.
Don't, yeah, it gets distorted. And
Yeah.
so I'm always harvesting there these pictures. Sometimes I think I have about 20 gigabytes of pictures on my hard drive to for future designs that I'm working on.
Wow.
So
That's good though.
basically,
That's good.
that, that's what my plan is for the time that I'm alive to recreate every model. Even though there's a couple of models that you can get already um, uh, from people that shrink their models or they do. I mean, there's so many. Uh, there's some German people that
Hmm.
do a lot of really beautiful models. You know, I really, if I wish 3D printing would be so um,
Easier,
quality,
faster, better.
the surface quality would recreate that kind of surface quality that would also make it easier for the general public
Right.
acquire a model from me. And
Yeah.
basically, I'm looking, I have to work another 10 years. I'm having a day job too,
Yeah. Me too.
which I spend 5 hours at the day job, and then I spend about 10 hours in my job, my design job.
You need to
So,
reverse, get paid to do the 10 hours of your hobby and don't get paid to do the job.
my children are lucky that I didn't have this kind of hobby when I was able to create children. Basically, my kids are big
Daddy,
enough.
who's daddy? We never see daddy. Who is
That's
he?
right.
He's always
Yeah,
working. I don't know who
that,
he is.
that they would say that's the kid up in the attic.
Right.
So yeah,
That
uh, I can only do it because now um, I turned 57 now, and I have the time to do it.
yeah.
It was the
Well,
right time in 2015 when I started it full time for 5 years. I was working full time until COVID came along, and I learned so much of the programs that I use, and of course, having contact to you guys is
right.
very important because if you create something and you don't get any feedback,
That's the biggest problem.
yeah,
I've got 26, 27 of these podcast videos up. I get maybe 4 or 5 people at most that might comment. Most of the videos only get one comment. And I don't really have a lot of feedback besides when I get a new guest on, they're like, oh, I just want to let you know, I've listened to some of your videos and it helped me, start modeling again, or I listen to it when I model and I think you're doing a good job. But it's not a lot of people telling me. They don't comment on the video.
well,
It's
I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I have not, I've seen fairly. I I think I saw about, let's say, 12 of them.
hey, that's better than most.
Not
I don't think most of them see that many.
I, yeah, but that's the same thing. But when you look at my page, and if you think about that, I created so many models, and you have 294 followers,
Right.
which is okay. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have that many friends. Basically, no, I don't have
Oh, I
any
don't
friends
either.
because I'm sitting all day at home. Uh,
Yeah.
so I cannot really, yeah, it's the same thing, and also, for example, you're the one of the ones that always click and like one of the
Hmm.
new releases. I mean, you're almost on every model that I release, you like. I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
I have
I like them all. I don't know that I've actually clicked like on them all because I don't know that I've seen every one of them. But anytime you put something up, I instantly like it because I see like what you're saying. You leave it up to the modeler. I see the possibility of what I could make that thing. Like, oh, if I only had it in my hands, oh, the things I could do to this.
yeah, that's
Like
great.
every one of your models, even the vans, like those 80s style vans that you created, every version of, I don't care for those vans at all. But
Yeah,
I know I can make something cool out of them.
I mean, these cars or these vans are running around all over in different kind of. I mean, they're still running today.
Yeah,
You know,
they are.
that's how good they are. I mean, you
Right.
cannot destroy those engines. You cannot that metal that was like a foot thick metal that they use, like the
Hmm.
Cadillacs and things like that. You cannot put a bump in it as long you don't drive another car into one of these.
Right. Right,
Uh,
exactly.
when I started out, I mean, I was the when they started that Cadillac Eldorado from the 70s, the 1975 Eldorado, when they started using the panels, the front and the back, was plastic. I mean, it was kind of,
Yeah, yeah, they
you
weren't
know,
cheap back then.
of, yes, yeah. They got smaller at that time. I mean, I think that was right after the oil crisis. That
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
75, 76.
Yeah,
And
America started turning European then,
yeah,
making every car small.
I mean, I'm really disappointed, basically, that America always had its own fate in automotive design. And
Oh yeah,
now, basically, if you look at all the, like Lincoln or Ford, I mean, Ford is another thing. I mean, most of these Fords that you can buy in America, like the Focus and all
hmm
these cars, they've been designed in Germany
oh
and
yeah,
are sold on, also built in Great Britain, in
right, right.
Germany, in France, these cars. But uh, I'm really happy that the United States still uh, uh, kept the character in their pickup trucks. I mean,
Yeah,
they got even bigger. This is the cruiser of today that they used to be in the 60s. I mean,
right.
giant cars. That
Well,
you
it's funny
saw.
though. See, back then they would use those trucks for actual work trucks. Still, like you bought a 1967 pickup, you bought that for a specific reason. You were going to use it on your farm. You're going to use it to, fill up the back of the bed with stuff. You were going to use it as a work truck. Today, people buy trucks for show. Oh, I'm going to keep it shiny. I'm going to keep it clean. I'm going to put these nice big rims on. It's never going to see dirt. It's not a work truck no more. It's just
Yeah,
a luxury pickup truck.
yeah. This is yeah. I mean, that's why you see them in Germany.
Right.
Uh, those Dodge. I mean, these trucks you don't. I mean, they are so shiny that you don't put anything in it, and you don't even
Yeah.
let it come close.
And the bad thing too, nothing's made out of metal on there. The whole car is plastic. Like that sheet metal plastic that's you could take a
Oh yeah,
screwdriver
yeah,
and
yeah,
just poke through.
yeah. It is. Yeah. I mean, okay. Uh, basically, uh, when people start talking to me about cars, they always talk about engines and things. Basically, I'm about the design. I would never put an engine into, or maybe I would, if I offer a model. If somebody was interested in a model that with open doors and open trunks, open, that's all possible because
It's
it's
possible.
yes,
Yeah.
but it even my shop is so diverse already that
Right.
even if I start releasing the same model, yeah, well, I'm a number guy. That's a good idea actually to offer these kind of models too.
The only thing I would say that could benefit you if you did the 1920s and 30s and
Mhm.
maybe 1920s and 30s Ford Model Ts and Model As,
Yeah,
because those were turned into hot rods ever since the 1940s. Like as soon as World War II passed, all Americans came back and hot rodded these little tiny Model A and Model Ts. I think so to do like different engines and stuff like that, that might be the only benefit in having different engines is you can make a small block V8 Chevy fit into a Model A or a Model
okay,
T
yeah,
or
yeah,
a straight six or a whatever, you could
yeah,
that might be the only benefit because I'm not going to open the hood on this car. I'm never going to. It'd be too much work to do that, and you could
I know,
design it to have the hood,
but
but
you see,
why?
that's a possibility. That, for example, somebody was coming up to me and say, "This is," uh, I would say that would be a day's work to offer a model where the modeler gets the model with separate doors that you can, after that, just place into the model, open or closed or uh,
To be like a
just
Revell kit, like the Revell
exactly,
company. Have the whole
exactly.
entire parts sheet, all
Yes,
separate
that
parts. Man.
like the model that I told you about that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's
Well, Jordan Highway Miniatures, they were doing that with their kits. They would have
yeah, yeah.
parts trees with all the parts connected to them,
Of
and
course,
then you
yeah,
would just snip them off. And
yeah.
that was even a little bit too much detail, but it was worth it for that company. But I mean, they're not even in business no more. So really, was it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's yeah, I don't know, but that's also I used to be a modeler and somebody who bought models,
Hmm.
and you see, I was looking for the cheapest. I have to admit that, and
Yeah,
everybody else is the same. So
right.
when people are looking at my shop and then they see the price, they are discouraged because
Not this
they
guy.
see the work. Yeah, perfect. Uh, I mean, you can come back anytime to my shop. Uh, one question that I have is basically, you know, Shapeways is, I mean, you cannot look for a specific model through the Shapeway shop.
No, it's
What
difficult to see what you're looking for.
I have on my homepage, I created, but not didn't update a catalog in a PDF file catalog of all models that were available at that time, but I didn't continue. In the meantime, I have like 400 models more than I had when I started that, and there were the links that you basically, if you open the PDF file, load down the catalog from my homepage and click on that link, it was it would bring you to the shop. But
Oh,
if
nice.
you were opening that PDF file, but only through your computer, because
Right.
today everybody is using their
The phone
uh,
or tablet.
their phones. The in Germany, that's the funny thing. When I go to America and I tell them I'm calling with my handy. That's in America it's a portable or a cell phone,
Right.
right?
That's
That's
weird, the
that's
differences.
yeah. In Germany, we have so many English words that would never be used in America or even in Great Britain, but
Right.
they're are brought into the German language and but only used in Germany. So,
Yeah,
but actually, I'm trailing off a little bit. Uh,
that's
the
okay.
problem, yeah, the problem is with using your cell phone is that you sometimes don't have the same possibility to when you load down a PDF file
Hmm.
to have access to the links that
Right, right.
something like that. This
Well,
just
well, yeah, like the cell phone and tablet app doesn't have this, like, if you're using Facebook, we go to your page on Facebook. The app for Facebook on the phone doesn't have the same capability as the internet access you do on your computer. So I get what you're saying.
yeah, the app, yeah, it's basically what I'm trying to do. I'm using. I get up like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I start updating my page with a new model and offer for sale a new model. Uh, but I do that on my tablet, and I'm while sitting at my breakfast table, and I don't have the same access to all the little possibilities that you have on the computer,
Right.
right? And that's it's also, but so many people they are searching my shop through the cell phone, so
Hmm.
they don't, for example, they don't see that there is if you enter the shop on the computer on the big screen, you have on the left hand side, you have all the scales which are available. You can just click on 1 to 87 and you have 2,260 different models in 1 to 87 instead of
Right.
looking through the whole shop where you have, I mean, I have right now, I have about 5,540 something, 46 models in different scales. So
Wow.
I'm close to 6,000 models that Shapeways has to keep for me,
Yeah.
uh, all the way from 1 to 8 to I think 1 to 400 is the smallest. No, 1 to 500 is the smallest scale that I offer.
Wow.
That's these I call them crazy people that uh, model airports and
Yeah.
all these, and they need vehicles. I did some 50s vehicles for a person in 1 to 600, and I had the feeling you would not see the difference in if it was a Ford or a Chevrolet.
Right.
He
Because
was
too small.
yeah, it's too small, but he wanted it anyway. I mean, he asked me for a 1952 suburban in 1 to 600. So yeah, and it was and I did it for him.
That's why I think I think it only really matters when, like totally matters when you're doing the classic cars, because the classic car every year looked different, you know, compared to today. You know, a Ford 2016 Ford Suburban compared to 2015, you know, Chevy Suburban, they look almost the same.
Of
And the
course,
smaller you get, it's going to look
it
exactly the
doesn't
same.
matter anymore after that. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, we uh, yeah, this is uh, that's why I'm concentrating still on the classics, and sometimes go back to modern times because there's still some people that like to model. I have a few German people that are solely getting modeling modern vehicles. So
Well, I
big
think
big
187 scale is probably the smallest that you can see the difference in.
yeah.
I mean, to me, you know, like you can take a 187 scale, you know, Ford pickup truck and put it next to the Chevy pickup truck.
Yeah.
And if it's painted right and detailed right, you can totally tell the difference within the grill or the back
Of course.
bed or whatever, you know. But yeah, if you get smaller, then most of the detail starts to disappear really quickly and you can't tell.
Yeah, I have some. I don't know if you can see those pictures. That's the different versions of the two. I think that's the 2011 to 2016 Ford, and that's the different versions. I think that's like 23 different models of the same truck. So uh,
Wow.
yeah, you're
Just to
still
think that there's that many of models of the same vehicle is just mind blowing.
yeah. This is uh, like I said, I'm a numbers guy, a number guy. I mean, I like to see, I like to feel the numbers of models that I have. That's why
Yeah,
I'm creating every day. I mean, my wife says I'm crazy.
yeah.
And
Well, that's kind of how I'm in as a modeler too. I don't really sell nearly as much as I build, and I build for me. I build because I like it, and I've got so many cars that I've built. People are like, "Are you going to sell it?" And I'm like, I mean, for the right price, I'll sell it, but I'll have to make another one for myself because I like it because I built it. That's why I built it, is because I like it. So I've got, I think, close to 300, 400 custom made 187 scale cars that aren't stock, that aren't just from the company. I custom painted it, swapped the wheels, did whatever I could to it, and I'm the same way. I just want to build it. I want to collect it. I want to say I have it, and I want to keep it. You know, so
yeah,
numbers is a big thing for me too.
yeah, that's while we're crazy, mad about cars.
Right. I mean, I've been a car guy my whole life. In Southern California, there's a car show every single weekend all year round. Because you know, Southern California has one season. It's summer all year. So
Okay.
there's a car show every single weekend in Southern California. And I grew up going to car shows my whole life. So I love cars. I'm super mad about cars.
You see, when I was in Los Angeles in 86, 1986, and I had I bought that Cadillac and I drove to Disneyland and I didn't remember where I parked my car, and I had to stay. I wanted to leave because I was going back to meet some friends, and I had to stay because nobody knew where my car, even though it was a 1965 DeVille,
Right.
nobody could tell me where it was. I didn't remember. So I had to wait. And, surveillance cameras were not yet,
Not really. Not a
not
thing
yet.
yet.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had to wait for security that all the car parks were empty until they found my car.
Wow.
So I
That's
stayed
such a long time to wait too.
till everybody left. And
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
I just I love to drive around Southern California.
Yeah, it's
The
much
window down.
nicer. Yeah, it's much nicer to drive an old car than it is a new car.
Oh yeah,
Because you feel the car with an old car. You feel all the things wrong with it, all the things right with it. You feel what it's doing, what it's not doing. New cars, I don't even think you drive a new car. You just steer it. That's all you do. And then the Tesla, you don't even steer. It steers for you.
as long as it doesn't see white, so there shouldn't be
Correct.
no white car in front.
Right.
But the thing is that when you drive this kind of old car, and you could feel every driveway.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you drove up a gas station and you were a little bit too fast, since your your you were like on a cloud, and that cloud was
Yeah.
moving down, and you
Right.
drove too fast onto something. It was just too long in the front. You hit it all the time. You were always scraping over the surface
Yeah.
up into a parking lot. I mean,
Because the
I drove,
cars are huge back then.
yeah. And then after a few years, uh, these parking lots are not built anymore for these old cars, right?
Right.
That
The
they have been
spaces were getting smaller and smaller.
they adjusted to the modern car, and so basically, you each time you drive a big car like that, you can feel it and you can hear
Oh
it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna walk outside. I'm in my garage right now. I'm gonna walk
okay,
outside and show you what I have on the side of my house. I
okay,
love this car. It's a it's a beautiful car. It doesn't look beautiful now, but it's a beautiful car. Let me switch this camera around.
okay.
So this
Oh yeah,
is
it's
it's
a Buick. Oh, it's a,
1960 Mercury.
oh, it's a Mercury. Okay, yeah.
So
So I
it's a
guess
four door,
I have
and
to
then
do one like this next.
you got the dash. Looks like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I like the car because it's a really rare car for North Carolina. It's really a rare car for the whole country. They didn't make very many of these cars, and I don't know why.
Yeah, but
But it's a
Mercury was at the time was not really a big seller, I think.
no, not really. I mean, it was Mercury is off of the Ford platform.
Yeah,
In the '60s, they wanted the name Ford. They didn't want the name Mercury.
uh,
But it's got a reverse hood too,
okay, yeah,
with this engine in it. So it's a pretty cool car. Got that wraparound front windshield,
uh, yeah. But
and then there's
when
a
you look at it like this, it could have been a Cadillac too.
yeah. Well,
They
so that's
were,
what's funny. I
they,
did the research, and the back window and the front window is actually GM. It's a GM window. So this fits 1960 or 1959 through 60, all GM,
okay,
because the GM like Cadillac or Buick or Oldsmobile or Impala had that windshield.
yeah,
So yeah, it's not running right now, but I'm gonna get it running, and when I get it running, I'll be able to drive it.
and you see, this is would have been a dream for me too. But it things like that, you don't. If if you would look at my house, I mean, you know, it probably would fit into your garage. You know,
You might.
everything is, at least everything that I have is small, but it fits my lifestyle, and
That
I
if
don't
if
mind.
you're happy with it and it works
Yeah,
for you, that's all that matters.
exactly. Yeah, I live in a timbered house built in 1898.
Wow.
So, uh, yeah, basically, I don't know who died here, but I don't want to know. So, you never know. You know, the house is speaking. It is
Yeah.
when we have a storm, it's creaking on every side. There's something, always something going on.
Wow.
Uh, it's yeah, it is home. It is it's ours. It is
Yeah.
much easier in America to. Uh, it's really expensive to live in Germany. But what I really enjoy after coming back from America, I enjoyed being insured. You know, I mean,
Right.
uh, having an insurance, being able to do whatever I want to, my hobby, but still don't have to make uh, to think, okay, I have a doctor's bill here, or do I buy food, or do I, you know, that was in the end when we were living in America, it became really tight, and we decided to go back to Europe in the 1990s.
Well, I mean, things, you know, being able to go out there to Germany, to France, and then to come back home, you see how, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but you see how overly ridiculous America can be. And if you're born and raised here, it's just in you to naturally be that way, you
You see,
know?
that's why I cannot criticize an American because uh, it is part of your history. I mean,
Right.
that's where it started. You know,
Yeah.
it, you can about today's political situation. You can always um, you can complain, but when you look back into how America was created, you know, and we know that nothing that we are looking at, you know, ev- everything is a um, you perceive something,
Right. Right.
you know, and your cultural background. That's what I liked on America. It was easy to adjust because it it is giving you enough freedom to do what you want to do. At least at the
Right.
time when I was living in America, uh, I had a time of my life. Now, when I look back to that, that was the part of me that where I was. I arrived in New York City, 24 hours business. I was going. I visited the 48 continental states in my first year. So
Wow.
yeah, and I mean, I cannot complain about America. I met people. Each time I come to America, I meet so many different people. I
Hmm.
might not agree with everything they tell me, but
Right.
uh, you know, you can have an opinion. It is no problem. And then as long as you can talk and you can exchange ideas,
It,
it
right.
is no problem at all.
And that's kind of why I made this podcast because, you know, I've been a fan of your work for a very long time now. Um, and then I saw you on the What's Neat show with Ken and Mike. And I thought, that's so neat. I have bought a lot of his products that he's designed. I would like to talk to him. And that was the whole idea behind the podcast is just to talk to different modelers, talk to a designer, somebody that has the passion for the hobby of even if you don't build, you create the opportunity for us to build. It's almost the same thing. I mean, you have a passion to do those American cars.
You see,
And
I started out as using all these models that were available at the time,
mhm,
and I was also I didn't like the color they came in, so I repainted them.
right,
But this is not what I do anymore. You know,
right.
I usually I have had over the last 20 years. I started the hobby, then I sold the hobby, and I started the hobby again. And as it was always, but it was always a step up to
Mhm,
the point where I decided, okay, this is what I want to do, and the creation of those models became more important to me than
yeah,
actually owning a model or. And
right.
basically, that's I have that passion, and that passion that I can. I taught myself so much of the technique of the creation of these models that basically that uh, it, it's limitless now. You know, I
Right,
just
yeah.
have the moment I have the right passion at the right time to start something new. But there's
Yeah,
always something new.
right. That's good though, because I mean, building models is almost the same as designing a model. You know, as designing the car, it's just a different version of it because you're going from something that exists, so something that exists, and then I'm going to design it the way I want it to look. So same with you, you're going to design it to fit smaller or bigger or whatever, but you still have to design it.
And
So
you are, and yeah, I just have to tell because that's exactly what I'm going for. You know, that's like I said in the beginning. I don't offer a finished product.
right.
I offer the starting point of,
Yeah.
and that becomes your model
Hmm.
when you finish it. It is just as easy as that. That's
Well, it's good, man. I mean, I like I said, like I keep saying, I think you're doing a awesome, wonderful, amazing job at bringing what doesn't exist to life. Because without you doing your part, we wouldn't be able to do our part. Because if you didn't make this station wagon, I don't know who was going to make it. I'm not going to make it. I needed it made so I can then build it. So the fact that you made a station wagon to downscale that I can buy, you know, from Shapeway, that's what I needed. And you offered that. So that
well,
is the biggest
that's
thing.
how actually when I started offering these models through Shapeways in 2015, uh, it basically Shapeways gave me the possibility to reach out into the world. Even
Yeah.
though I had my own printer at home, or where I had an office at that time, and I had my printer there. I mean, that was a huge machine. You know, it was not something that you put on your table, your desktop, but it was about, let's say, 10 feet long and about 4 feet wide. It,
Oh my gosh.
it was about 5 feet high. It had,
Oh,
I mean, you know, it had the actual printing chamber and then a cleaning chamber because I was using kind of a powder, a compound powder that was infiltrated by resin, and it was. I don't know if you saw these figure prints of people that people can get scanned in somewhere
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in a person, and then they print those little figurines
Right.
about
Yeah.
uh, 1 foot high, and that printer, I had that kind of printer at home when I started out because I was trying to offer my service to architects to print out architectural models.
Hmm.
It was not really working out, and I started that small batch production of models. For I had a customer that was asking me to models that I had already available where I could change the color of the vehicle in the beginning. So I was changing the color. I was doing a vinyl top or a black one, a white one, and I could change around and customize these models too. But they were just simple hollow versions of these models, which appealed to some, but after a while, it just was too much.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough sales to keep up the service of that machine and the material and all these materials had a date of expiration and
Right.
each time a cartridge of that resin cost about $300 each. So after a while, and
Wow.
when that you don't use that, and it becomes
Right.
bad, it is, yeah, you know. So
Well, so that's funny you say that because I don't I don't do any of the light work on this. I don't stock any LEDs. I don't do any of that. I send this out to a company to have them do it because I don't have enough clientele, same as you, to keep that stuff. I don't want to buy it. I don't want to store it for the next person that says they want one to uh, to do that with. So I just send it out. They do all the work. They send it back to me, and then I tell the customer it's done, ready to go. So same thing. Yeah, I build it for the customer, but I'll send it out to another company for them to finish the model.
that's the problem also. What all the other companies, what that for example, that produce in China,
Yeah.
right? They have to produce in China because uh, if you were producing in the United States, uh, like you said, then there would be not enough business for you to
Right.
keep on going. You know,
Yeah.
I can only do it because I don't concentrate on the production. I concentrate on the creation, and that's
Yeah.
basically. People ask me, why don't you get a printer yourself and you print these models? And I told them, what do you like? Do you like different models, or do you like
Right.
being yeah? Because it's just it's too much, and for me, too much hassle.
Yeah.
To do all
Well,
these.
I like I said, I have a printer. I have the old like an SL whatever, the spool printer with
Okay.
the
Yeah, yeah,
wire.
yeah.
Yeah, I have that. I can't get it to figure out right. I don't know how to computerize getting something this big and shrinking it to this big. I don't know. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And I keep saying, like I've said in a couple of these podcasts, I said, I need the system to be so simple. I take from your page a car, I point my finger on it, and I drag that car to the printer, and then I click it, and it starts printing. That's what I need. But until then, I don't think I'm printing nothing. I'm going to keep having
Yeah,
Shapeway or whoever else print it for me.
yeah. That's it is a. I think in some of your podcasts, I think in one of your last podcasts, you were interviewing somebody, and he was also saying about talking about the production. If the production is done in the United States, of course, it's more expensive because the cost of labor
Yeah.
of everything that you have to think about. I mean, for example, I proud myself in because Shapeways produces in the United States. They are in New York City. They are just across the river from Manhattan,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
in Long Island, and basically that's where I say I'm proud of that it's made in the United States.
Yeah.
Even though we have not packaged it or it's not being, but it's made in the United States. It's
Right.
also profiting an American. You know,
Right.
it's so I'm that's why I'm not even thinking of doing something in China
Right.
because a lot of people said, why don't you take your things and create something? Because I could easily um, uh, uh, create a model of, for example,
it's a Chevy dually, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's N scale. And that's done on an SL8 printer. It's just been, I just put some color on it, but you basically, you cannot see the print lines. But the thing is, I could easily produce something like that in China because I just, everything is, even printing wise, it would be able. But the problem is that you have to have a warehouse after that. You have to have enough number of sales. That's
Right.
why, for example, a lot of these model railroad companies produce only what's been ordered because
Hmm.
uh, they cannot afford an inventory higher than what is really being sold.
Yeah.
That's today's problem. But that's basically where I can thrive on because the service that I offer is not based on any warehousing or
Right.
anything else, and I really can concentrate on the creation.
Yeah, because
That's
Shapeway doesn't have a warehouse. You just order from
okay.
their website, and then the order gets processed and printed and then shipped.
Exactly.
I
That's a
probably, if they have a warehouse, it's just for the resin and the spool
ex,
stuff.
ex, exactly,
That's it.
exactly. Yeah, and that's basically that should be the future of that. You like just click on something and you produce it. For example, yourself, or
Yeah.
you are really, uh, I mean, putting everybody else out of work. If you have the possibility to do that.
Yeah.
But
Well, somebody has to create the design. So somebody designed that program. I'll buy that program, put it on my phone, and then go to your website, flip through the cars, and then drag that car over to the printer.
exactly.
So somebody creates that design,
Yeah.
and
If
good.
you look the development of personal computers from the early 90s to today, they do all that. I mean, basically, when I started out in computers in 1987, uh, we had to you had to uh, install a program over DOS. I don't know. It was
Yeah, I know what DOS is. Yeah.
you had to be a computer based just
Right.
install a program. But
Yeah.
today you just you throw in a CD or a DVD and it
Right.
does everything automatic. The
Yeah.
program, everything is setting up by itself, and that's what will happen with 3D printing.
I hope sooner than later.
I mean, look at these the development of personal computers within 30 years.
Right.
I hope it's not that long.
Well, even the printers,
But
think about the printers, like that first
yeah,
printer that you had compared to the printers today.
okay,
World the difference.
big difference, big difference.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
I'm hoping it changes quick so I can start printing my own stuff because that'll help me save a lot of money.
you know, I was working for 2 years. I was working part time in a company that was selling 3D printers, and uh, uh, I was in customer service. The worst thing that you could do
Right.
uh, because
In any company.
people were expecting because the company that produced the printer put something on the box, plug and play. And
Wow.
plug
And
and
it's
play.
probably not.
It
It's
is
definitely
not.
not plug and play.
No 3D printer is plug and play because you have to fiddle with the printing. You have to level everything.
Right? Yeah. That's
You
one
can't
problem I'm having. I can't get my
yeah,
stupid table level.
exactly. No, that basically there is people that buy a printer and think that it does everything by itself, which hopefully, like we said,
Yeah.
will be in a not so distant future. That
Right.
we can just we have it sitting in the corner of our office or in wherever, and you
Yeah.
just click on your phone and it
Well,
starts.
here's what's funny. I cruise Facebook a lot, and Facebook's starting to show these like leather and plastic and other etchers, like laser etchers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're showing you in the video, take your phone, download their app, look through the picture, click the picture, it'll send it to that laser printer, and then laser the design that you want on whatever you want.
Yeah.
Let's make the 3D printer that way. Come on now, let's do it.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Right, it would be.
Yeah.
And there was another podcast I did where a guy was like, well, then next, once the printer sees the design, then you choose what kind of paint job you want on it. And then the
Oh,
printer can print and paint, and the whole car's done with by the time it's done.
oh yeah. Yeah, but you know that would take the fun out of
It would
what
definitely
you're
take the
doing.
time. Yeah.
You
But
know,
if you were selling this like
yeah.
to everybody in the country, then that would work perfect because you just have everything done. But you don't have that kind of clientele, so the fun is building it, making sure it works, and then giving it to the customer.
Of course, of course. So
But
and that I mean, you say yourself that you have only a few people that
right.
basically that niche that you, but you're open to yourself.
Yeah,
That,
exactly. Because this was the first one. This was numero uno, the very first one. And I said, I'm never going to build another one. And then somebody say, can I buy it from you? And so I threw out this really high number I thought nobody was going to say yes to. And then they said yes. And I have 20 of these, 20 that I've sold. And for that kind of money, for 250 bucks, I sell them all lit up, ready to go to your house.
so
And so I
basically,
thought that was way too high. But
you're the one
yeah,
because I sold that model about 20 times.
right. Yeah, that
Yeah.
I am the one. I'm one of the only ones that have bought this many from Shapeway,
Yeah.
from your design. But you see, I don't know if you
Wow.
see, I changed the design on the roof rack. So this is the one that you offer.
Exactly. Yeah. That the one that I use is from the game.
Yes. And
Yeah.
nobody knows that. So I have to explain it to them. So I changed the roof rack to this one. And this is from the first movie.
Yeah.
So I chopped off that big dome and moved a couple things. And
Uh-huh.
then I changed it again for this one. This is from the second movie.
Yeah.
And so I added the big thing on the back and then added the two lights on the front. And so I had to change it 2 times to get all 3 versions.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but
But
you know,
this one and this one, the first movie car and the second movie car, these aren't for sale for the customer. Only the game version. Only the one that you designed.
well, you put a lot of time in it. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
but
this,
when I can ask you about the LEDs, I
yeah.
mean, you said are you, for example, did you do them yourself, like add them to the model?
I can't. I
Oh,
can't add these. I don't have the drills. I don't have the skills. I don't have a soldering gun. I don't, there's you can barely see it, maybe not even see it. Oh, you can see it better on here. There's a microchip down there that lets the lights
of
do
course.
all the work. I don't have no idea how to do any of that. So I send it off for them to do it. I can paint it. I can put the decals on it. I can
Yeah.
paint the windows. I can order the spotlights and the light bars.
No.
I can't put LEDs in there.
Okay.
Not me.
Yeah. That's why. Yeah.
But this car, so this is the first movie car, and it has those lights, and it does that blinking. This is the second movie car. It's got
It has
twice as more lights.
Yeah. And
This
it
has
has
got over,
the rotating.
yeah,
light up there.
this has got over 40 individual LEDs in it.
Yeah.
Over 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, this is the way I sell it with this light pattern.
Yeah.
This light pattern from them, from East Coast Circuit, is $75 for them to do it.
Yeah.
75 for one car. So, and then you add another 45 for Shapeway, and then add however much to get the light bar and everything.
Yeah,
It's a lot of money just
but I
before
can
you.
tell you, it's worth
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's
that,
worth it because of you.
yeah, no, really, that it is. There might have been somebody else who had the idea. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
basically, if you look into Shapeways now, there's a lot more people that offer things, and um, for example, that's why. But I'm not really worried because I have so much
Right.
uh,
Inventory.
diversity
Yeah.
in these models, and since
Right.
I'm adding something every day, so basically,
Yeah.
people I have 10 years ahead from whoever wants to do something else.
Right.
I had a head start at the right time.
Well, I'll tell
So
you what, this isn't to make you look
oh,
bad. It's not to make you sound like you don't have enough, but I I had to get a DeLorean, a 3D printed DeLorean from another guy because you don't have that in your inventory. I think your screen went black. Are you still there? It says you're here on the bottom left of my screen, so I see you're still online. Well, I don't know what happened to him. He's got some phone malfunctions. Oh, and he's gone. I had power. My power just lost all power. Oh, man. Well, I think this is going to be the end of this episode. If he comes back, we'll continue. If he doesn't, then thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. This guy's awesome. Hopefully he'll be back soon for another episode, but until then, we'll say goodnight and you all have a good evening.